Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World. Welcome to the breakdown this Sunday evening as we take a look over yesterday's game and a look at everything going on at Cardiff City. There's lots and lots going on. It's the transfer window, as always, so there's lots of stuff flying about. But most importantly, of all, should I say, Cardiff City managed to string 3 good performances together in the space of a few days. That's a very, very good sign, shall we say. Of course, it's got to be kept up. But I think, look, on another day, could have pinched it yesterday. You know, Ruben's head is just wide. Could have pinched a bit of a smash and grab. But Boro are a very good team. And they got 2 or 3 real good players. And when Dokes will walk past O'Dowda and crosses that ball in for that goal, after 10 minutes or so, I was like, oh, this is going to be a long day. But very, very good performance. But something I'm most happy about is after the Oxford game, me and, everybody else called out the players because they was poor. And it wasn't the first time in Omar Rhys's reign where the attitude was not up to it. The work rate was not up to it. The application was not up to it. The general mentality was not up to it. QPR, Preston, off the top of my head. Stoke wasn't much better. There's been a few. And then Oxford was poor. They've responded with 3 excellent performances. And look, say what you will about Omar Rhys. I mean, I think you can certainly question certain things, tactics and stuff like that. Look at the tweaks he's made over the last 3 games. Chambers into midfield has brought back the real Psyopus. Got the best out of the team as a whole. Robinson scoring again, or he's suspended, obviously. The team looks balanced. We still can't keep a clean sheet for Toffee, but that'll come. That'll come. The players look up for it. Now, we have to be able to take that into these league games. Like the cup game, I think, is a bit of an inconvenience on one hand. But on the other hand, I like to look at it on a positive point of view. What we can do, and what I would like to see, I don't know whether they'll do this, what I would like to see them do against Sheffield United this week is Halverth in goal, Fish, Pacquiao. Maybe you chuck NG as in centre-back with Fish just to get in some minutes. Pacquiao right back, one of the younger lads, left-back Davis or Giles. In midfield, you can go with Rawls and a youngster. Can you get Manny Barton on the bench? Can you get Ola in the team? Is Reindorf fit enough to have some minutes? Get some of these youngsters in there. I wouldn't be disappointed to see Dylan Lawler get his debut this week. But most of all, I don't want to see, and this is no reflection on them, by the way, it's just give them a rest. I don't want to see Rena Mota play. I don't want to see Chambers play. I don't want to see Psyopus play. Obviously, Robinson's banned. I don't want to see O'Dowda or Gutas. Use the squad. You've got a few players back from injuries who need minutes, experienced players like Rawls and NG. But I also don't want to see Perry NG going at right back. I want to see Pacquiao at right back. Go with the youngsters with a nice bit of experience through the spine. So go with Rawls in the middle of the park. Go with Fish alongside NG. I would like to see that because I think it's a really strong spine, and that's what is giving the team a bit of solidity and allowing us to play. So I like it. Big shout out as well to all the members who've joined over the last couple of days. In particular, the last 24 hours, we've had Jonathan, Damien join on Cardiff City World, Stephen Davis also joined on Patreon, but also Martin, Matthew, all these people. There's so many now. Graham, too many to mention. Appreciate you all. Maybe we'll have to start getting a little list going at the end of the shows or something. But that's what keeps the light on and lights on. And what I wanted to do for the members is, we do an exclusive show on a Monday for the members. They get early access to pre-recorded videos. They get early access to tickets for live events. But I wanted to give them something extra. So from Tuesday morning, every week, going to be the rumour mill where I'm going to kind of box up all the things that I hear behind the scenes and stuff to a certain degree. Can't say everything, but like to a certain degree, certainly in January when the transfer window's flying, and we're going to put that all into a nice short podcast for you guys who are the members to, keep you going. And I'll go all the way through January. The boys are doing a members-only show tomorrow. The Monday's members-only show is not purely Cardiff City. It's a bit of everything. Talk about whatever comes up. It's unscripted, uncensored. You guys guide the conversation, as it were. But anyway, back to it. What did we think of yesterday? Number one, I think a point away from Boro is good. Number two, I thought it was a really good performance. However, you got to look at it from all sides, and we haven't got a great deal of points from the last 30 odd. Now, if you look at it in the small window of the last 3 games, I think if we play like we have in the last 3 games, we probably stay up comfortably. And I think that's the main thing that you need to focus on. But if you look at the last 30 points that have been available, if we get that amount from the next 30 that are available, we could be in big trouble. So it's important to be balanced and not get too carried away. Kean Ashford, I'm really, really happy to see him getting a run of games. But he's another one. See, do you play him? Do you rest him in the cup game? I don't know. He's one because you don't want to burn him out. See, like I'd probably give Joel Bagan some minutes. I'd definitely give him Will Fish some minutes. Does he exist? If he doesn't play against Sheffield United, then I am convinced that Will Fish is a figment of our imaginations. Like I got to be honest, like, and this is no disrespect to these individuals, I will be really disappointed if like we kind of see a really experienced team of squad players and not many of the young players. Like we've got some exciting youngsters. Sheffield United have got a lot of injuries. I just did a preview podcast for a Sheffield United channel. They got a lot of injuries, but their manager said he's going to rotate. So I'd imagine they'll have a pretty mismatched young side. And our youngsters, they're top of the league. They're doing well. They're flying in their age group. So this is the chance. And if we were to go out against Sheffield United, I don't think anyone's too bothered about the FA Cup. It's nice if you can get a run. But what it does do, if you can stay in it for a couple of games, is it gives you the opportunity to rotate, to give players coming back from injury. I don't think Simic will be fit enough to start, but he's training. He could be on the bench. Atete, you could give him some minutes. And that's really beneficial because the level compared to the under-23s or under-21s is different. It's just a step up. So if you are in the cup competitions, all right, we're probably not going to get to the final, not going to win it. Of course, we understand that. But if you can hang around it for a couple of rounds, it does allow you to rotate. And if you can squeeze through with a bit of a mix of squad players and young players, it's a handy little tool to have, I think. I'd give Alex Robertson a rest, even though normally I'd like to see him with the youngsters. I think he needs a bit of a rest. He's played a lot of football. I'd rest the spine. I really would. I think that you've got enough experienced players and young players there that you can mix it up a bit. But let's talk about yesterday. I thought it was another very good performance. Well, Callum Chambers and Siopis have been excellent in midfield. And I think what Callum Chambers is really, like, apart from his individual performance being very, very good, I think what he's done to Siopis is so important. Like, Siopis looks like the player that we thought we had in that first part of his reign. Garland, after, probably being at fault for the goal against Coventry, has come along and chucked in my opinion, like an 8 out of 10 performance. I thought he was outstanding. And I'd be amazed if Jamaro Collins starts. So don't think that's going to happen. But Howarth, Fish, Bagan, Rawls, depending on injury situation, maybe Mate up front because it depends on who you've got available. If Simic is not fit or whatever to start, and Reindorf's not fit, unless they're going to put a Manny Barton up there, It is what it is. But I also, with the Robinson thing, I think, yes, we could have done with him yesterday. But he probably wasn't going to start in the FA Cup. And you can kind of give him, let's him have a little rest because he's had some fitness issues. And we know he's a streaky striker. He's scoring goals. So he's back for the Jacks game. Massive. Who else did I thought Jack Alnwick had another good game after a bit of a little rocky spell. I thought he was excellent again. And shout out to Callum O'Dowda, by the way. He's a winger who's playing left back, gets breezed past by Doak for the goal. And it's no disrespect to him. Doak is an 18, 19-year-old, and he is rapid, and he's such a good player to the point where Leicester and Palace are after him for sort of 15, 20 million now in the window. So that shows the level he's at. He beats the man. He looked like an O'Dowda gets booked quite early on, and you're thinking, oof, if I'm Middlesbrough, just give Doak the ball all the time. But we cut the ball out. Chambers, Siopis, Robertson, Tanner and Ashford put shift in as well. They just stopped the ball getting out to him. And that's all you can do is do your jobs individually, collectively. Ritamoto was excellent again. But there was a point in the game where I really believed that we may pinch it. And that was when they moved Doak over to the left. And I couldn't understand it, why they took him away from Callum O'Dowda. Because out of the two fullbacks that we got in Rinamoto and O'Dowda, Rinamoto is by far the better defensively. He also sits in a little bit more than O'Dowda does, so you haven't got that space to attack when he goes forward or in the transition. So when I saw Doak go over to the left, I was really happy. I thought, oh, there we go. And I thought defensively, they had a couple of chances, but I thought we were very good. And look, Cardiff fans, football fans are weird, and they on social media and Cardiff fans particularly. Maybe it's just because I'm in that bubble of Cardiff fans, but I saw so many people slagging Ruben Colwell off yesterday, and I was just like, why? Why does one person always have to be the target, and blamed? He was playing up front for the first time, and I thought, he's playing against two very good, very experienced centre backs, and also, I thought, by the way, their right back, he is rapid. Dijkskill, he was real good. I thought he was the best player on the pitch, actually. I thought he was excellent. But anyway, sideshow. Ruben Colwell did all right. I'm not saying he had an amazing game, but he did all right in an unfamiliar role. And it was also clear, that the team as a whole had been told to sit in and be compact and not go hunting for the ball when they've got it in the defensive areas because they play through us. So we sat back, and so Ruben didn't go hunting for the ball. Now, I actually think while Robinson's out, or when Robinson's out, with the choices we've got at the moment with no Randolph, I would go with Ruben Colwell up front, and I'll tell you why. I think he's very difficult to mark because of the positions he takes up and allows Keane Ashford, Robertson, Tanner, whoever to get in those spaces. But I also... was someone, I can't remember who it was, Rhys Lasky, I think it was, who pointed me towards it. Ruben's statistically has won the most balls from pressing this season out of all of our attacking players. He does win the ball back. He's got an awkward size about him. So him as the 9 can work. And I'd rather see him as a 9 than Mate or Kanga, with the greatest of respect. He can hold the ball up. He can beat a man. Yesterday wasn't the game for that, really, because of X, Y, and Z. We sat in and we were compact. We didn't press as much yesterday tactically. But for games where we do press, he can do that job and he can do it well. So didn't really understand the criticism. Of course, he should hit the target and probably score with that header. But of all the things that Ruben Colwell is, he ain't a target man. And some of the balls that we were giving up to him, they're neck high. And he was getting a flick on several times, got it under control with his chest several times. I thought he did an admirable job without being incredible. I actually thought he was very good, but not, amazing. I just thought he was good. And I thought, when you're playing out of position, a bit of a different role, what do you expect? But I don't know. It's fans just expect him to, just pull a rabbit out of the hat all the time. And then when he doesn't, it's he's enemy number one. But I was going to say, be careful what you wish for, but I think that sentence is a bit of a sore subject at the moment, isn't it? It's like this. Like, we're getting some players back from injury. We look like we've got a bit of depth. I think we'll have a couple coming in now, and it looks like they're going to be pacey options, and that's exciting to see that they're going to be pacey options, because the one thing I do think we lack is pace. Like that, like you look at Jugsteel yesterday, even Tanner, I wouldn't say is slow, and Tanner had him one-on-one. He knocks it past him, and most fullbacks in that position where Tanner's got to run on him, he leaves him for dead, gets across for a shot in. Jugsteel just opened up his legs and just got the ball easy. And I think, like I thought Tanner did. I saw some people, excuse me, sorry. I saw some people saying, Tanner was quite poor, but he done a lot of work defensively to help out O'Dowd there and try and keep, Doak quiet. Didn't have as much attacking opportunity, but none of them did. We're playing in my opinion, one of the best footballing teams in the league. And they've not just that, but they've got in Azaz and Doak, they've got two players who are probably too good for the championship. And then Latte Lath is pretty good as well. So you've got three players in those attacking areas who are very good. And then you've also got Hackney and Barlaser in the middle, in the double pivot, who are good at finding them through the lines. So if you go chasing the ball and you go press and you lose your shape and you vacate the midfield and you vacate your positions, the likes of Hackney and Barlaser and Jugsteel will play it into Doak and fire Izaz and find Latte Lath. And that's when a team like Middlesbrough will take you apart. Now, we were compact, we kept our shape, and it was a good point. Someone just said it was like a bullet-like performance. It was similar to that in a good way. Like last year, away from home was one of the few sort of positive things you could take from Bullets reign. We were very difficult to beat away from home. And look, I don't like to talk about luck because I feel like you earn your own luck. But with a little bit of luck, we could have taken 9 points from those 3 games. Ruben puts that header in, you pinch that game, the Coventry game, the sending off. I'm convinced that changed the game. The first half, we were so dominant, and then we just had a crazy 60 seconds in the second half. And even with 10 men, we had, a couple of really clear-cut chances. Of course, Coventry have chances, and it was a bit of rearguard action because they've got the extra man, which they utilised quite well and creating the additional numbers in the wide areas. But another timeline, we got 9 from 9 there because, Robinson's, it's a harsh sending off. So it turns out the club did appeal that. Bizarre, isn't it? I just can't see how you can justify that as a red card. I really can't. But yeah, he's got his 3-match ban. He's back for the Jacks game. Important that he didn't get that extra game. Again, like Jonathan just says there, I saw Ashford get more criticism than Tanner, but Ashford offered a lot of help. Yeah, both of them, mate, did an absolute sterling job at getting back in and helping the fullbacks. I really like the way Ashford does his defensive work. So what he'll do sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, is he'll cheat a little bit in the hope that the play breaks down and then we can play one pass to him and he's got space to drive into. But then as soon as that pass is not, it doesn't break down, he sprints and gets back in on the winger, and he quite often wins the ball back. He's quite clever. He's obviously got permission, which is quite common. Managers or coaches will give, pacey or exciting wingers license to cheat a little bit when coming back, as long as they come back at the right times. But anyone who's criticizing, things like his decision making or his final ball or heavy touches and things like that, get in the bin as far as I'm concerned, because for me, you can't on one hand be begging for the young players to play, and then on the other hand, when Kean Ashford gets a chance, being on him for every heavy touch or misplaced pass. You can't have it both ways. They're learning, and I think he's been a bit of a fresh air, a bit of a breath of fresh air on that right hand side. And I also am happy to see Tanner on the bloody left and not the right, so he can try and, like, again, didn't get the opportunity as much to do it yesterday, but when we're a bit more attacking at home or against different teams, him on the left putting the ball in the box is going to be a positive thing for the likes of, whether it's Ruben, whether it's Robinson, whether it's Robertson arriving late. Having someone who can cross the football is vital. And we've already seen it with balls going to the back post and Ashford knocking it back across for Robertson to score. And then when he was through, he played a ball to Robinson. His decision-making in the vital moments was pretty damn good. So that was good. Chambers, yeah, you're right, Andrew. Chambers was absolutely superb. And I don't want to be that guy, but myself and Rhys David Evans from the 1927 pod, we called the Chambers to go into CDM, I think, way back before Christmas. Both of us at different times said it. He has done the job before. It's not like he's gone in and he's never done it before, but he looks so much more comfortable with players behind him to cover him. He's not the quickest, but he's a good footballer and he can pass the ball as well. He's not like, so like I always say with Psyopis, what I want to see from Psyopis is win the ball and then just move it on. He has got a good diagonal in him, but sometimes he gets a bit overexcited and he rushes it and he just gives the ball away and it leaves you wide open. So I kind of, some Psyopis, I want to see pressing, win the ball, move it on to someone else. But then on the other side, I think Chambers being there just allows Psyopis to just be so aggressive in the press. And you've seen, like, he gets frustrated, Psyopis does sometimes, and he'll go press on his own, but he'll win the ball back. Like, he's so good at it, but you can't have him as the 6, as the CDM, as the holder, and then him vacate the midfield to press. So by having Chambers in there, I think they make a tremendous combination. Now, do you need both of them in there for every game? Well, no, I'd argue at some games you're probably going to have to move Robertson back alongside one of them, maybe Chambers. I wouldn't mind seeing a Chambers Robertson sort of combo, and then you can put Ruben in the 10 behind Robinson, and then I think you could be cooking something. But it's interesting. It's interesting. Evening, Bradley. Jonathan says all the players are working hard for the badge and for Risa. If they keep it up, a big if, they should be good enough to survive, especially if we get a couple of new players in. Yeah, and exactly that, mate. I think one of the main thing that we kind of focused on over Christmas before we picked up it's the attitude and the work rate. If you get that right, go down with a fight. If we're going to go down to League One, let's do it with a fight. Let's not go down like with a whimper. And I really feel like the squad has stepped up in the last 3 games, and there's been a difference in the work rate and the attitude and just the general mentality. Even the subs, I think there's been a difference. Bacon's always the same, but Mate looked like he wanted to put himself about a bit yesterday. Rolls has been up for it when he's come on against, he put that cracking tackle in against Coventry, and I thought he looked up for it again yesterday. He his composure won us a couple of free kicks where he just waited for the foul and takes the pressure off. And I thought Willock done quite well yesterday. I thought he was going to bend that one in the top corner at one point, but he just didn't get the right connection. But, he's looked more up for it. So we've got to keep it rolling, though. And that is... So as much as I said about the FA Cup, and I said I don't want to see all these players playing, I want to see us change it up, play the youngsters, rest all of the players effectively. I have a feeling that Omar Risa may go with a bit of a mix of the first 11 that's played the last couple of weeks, but he'll bring in like Bagan, Rawls, Mate, NG, people like that, and kind of be like a bit of a mix, as opposed to I'd rather see all the lads who were on the bench yesterday, apart from probably Kanga. Unfortunately, I think it looks like he's going back to his parent club. Willock, Bagan, Mate, Rawls, Howworth, NG, Fish, Kpakio. I'm half happy, fine with all of them starting. and then just put in the youngsters around them. Maybe you can have like a Robertson or an Ashford on the bench, but you've got to rest some of these boys ready for these league games. Rhys says, to be honest, in the 3 games prior to Rashford, Rashford got 2 assists and 3 goal involvements. In 3 games, not too shabby for a youth prospect. So be asking a lot of him to have 4 good games on the spin. Indeed, mate. Young players, mate, they're inconsistent by definition. They're young and they're learning. Matthew says Chambers looks a different player in CDM. He does, mate. And not just that, it's the effect he's had on others around him. I think you have to give Rhys a bit of credit for that. Like, regardless of anything else and things that you can rightly criticize him for, things that I think people are a bit harsh on him for, you've got to give credit where it's due. And we're quick enough to criticize this group of players when they weren't putting a shift in coming into Christmas. So they rightly get criticism. So when they put a shift in, you've got to give them criticism. Got to give them praise. Of course you have. Saying that, I will caveat that by saying, like, giving 100% is like surely the basic trait for playing for the club, isn't it? I guess that's another story for another day. Matthew says, I'm not sure why Colwell has stick from any City fans. Why don't people just appreciate the clear, brilliant effort they gave against the Boro side? Also, we had no striker yesterday. Yeah, exactly that, mate. Rhys says, you can't blame Ruben for missing a header. The lad's a number 10 by trade. Yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? Like, he should really hit the target. But I could see what he was trying to do. So that strikers are coached to go, when it comes across, to head it back across goal. But there was a clear space this side, so you could see what he was trying to do, get the power on it, and just inches wide. Rhys says, how many strikers we had over the years that would have also missed that? Yeah, I mean, we've had some real stinkers, haven't we? Jonathan says, the only one I'd have been 100% confident to score that header would have been Hyder Helgeson. Indeed. Peter Thorne, he can header the ball, says Martin. 100% he can. Peter Thorne. Wonder if we'll see him soon. Rhys says, I swear some fans have never taken to Ruben, and every time he makes a mistake, it gets more highlighted than other players. The reality is he's out there, top 3 rated players this year, and he should be a fan favourite. Yeah, it's one of them, isn't it, mate? Rhys says, Kiefer had another play, but plenty of them would have missed, to be honest. Go back to Toshak and Brian Clark. Some people showing their age, and yeah, geez. Tim, that's a good question. Does the change in form coincide with Richard Shaw joining? Is he having an impact in the dressing room? I mean, it's difficult to say for definite, in my opinion, but like you got to say that there's been a change in attitude and mentality within the playing squad since he's come in. Now, is that because Omar Rhys goes the kind of arm around the shoulder route, which is fine, and then maybe Richard Shaw is a bit more vocal and a bit more to the point, straight talking. And let's be honest, as well, that is apart from that side of it, like we've been running our skeleton crew of coaches. Like you've literally had Omar Rhys, Darren Pearce, and Tom Ramasol, and the goalkeeping coach, and that's it. Like that's a real skeleton crew of coaches, isn't it, for the championship team? Like Evan says, late to the party. I was at the game visiting family in Boro. Considering we played without a striker, we did well. But we seriously lack a final product and that deadly pace. I think the pace thing will be addressed soon as well. Soon. The change in Chambers' role happened around the same time that Richard Shaw joined. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I couldn't say for sure, but I mean, you just don't know, do you? Like, I don't think putting Chambers into midfield is not I don't think anyway. It's like a massive, like outside the box idea. He's done it before. He's a very good player with the ball at his feet, and he's defensively sound. So, like, he ticks a lot of boxes. I think the thing which deserves the credit from me is I think it would have been easy to put Chambers in the 6 and play Robertson, but I think it's quite a brave decision to drop Ruben, put Robertson in the 10, and put CO alongside Chambers. I think that is a brave decision, and I think it's worked. Like defensively, we look so much better. Still can't keep a clean sheet, but we're so much better. Particularly like Robertson does so much work off the ball that goes unseen. Whether it's getting back into position, whether it's dropping in, cutting off the passing lanes, or actually going out and pressing with the forward, it's impressive. Like I think Alex Robertson has already shown that he's a phenomenal player, like with the ball. But I've been massively impressed with his work off the ball these last 3 games. That's something which I have been really impressed by. Like something which sort of caught my eye a little bit because not necessarily. I knew he was quite an aggressive player, and he likes to get stuck in. But I thought most of his game was around on the ball and his technical ability. But he's actually like a real clever defensive player as well. And I'll tell you something, right? Robertson is playing 10 at the moment. He can play a number 8, box to box. He could play a 6 as well. Like, he is that good. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be at Cardiff very long. But we just enjoy him while we got him, is my opinion. Lewis over on Twitter says, which players do you expect to leave in this window? Well, that is a difficult one, mate, because you just don't know what's like. It's such the January window is real hard to get players out. I don't think we'll see a lot of players going out permanently, but we might see Tucinoda's gone on back on loan. Jamal Collins, I think will go. I think you might see Kanga's going back, so that's 3 straight away. Who else might go? I don't know, mate. Like outside of those, they're the ones who I would definitely say are going to go in January. Outside of that, it's difficult to know which ones will go, out in the summer, because January is just a nightmare trying to get players in and out. Like there's loads of players who I think will go in the summer, apart from the 13, but for a variety of reasons. But if you're asking me who I think is going to go out in January, I would say, Kanga is going to go back. I think Jamal Collins, maybe one or two, like an Atete, maybe might go on loan. I wouldn't be surprised if Will Fish. I wouldn't be surprised if Will Fish goes on. I wouldn't be surprised if Will Fish goes out on loan, just simply because. Yeah, like is he a real person? Has anyone seen him? If you've had a photo with Will Fish, can you send it to Cardiff City World and give me a tag? Because I'm not sure he exists. We'll see on Thursday, is it, the game? Alex says Atete and NG. I don't know if NG goes out in January. I think he might well go in the summer, but I just don't think. I don't think he'll go in January. I don't think. But, stranger things have happened. We've got to move players out. So, so some of the things I've heard over the last couple of days about who we're trying to get in. One thing I will say, and I'm going to talk about it in more detail on the rumour mill on Tuesday, but there's a lot of pace there. A lot of pace there. And the one thing which strikes me is if they were to bring in a couple of those players, they'd have to move out more than Kanga. Like they would just otherwise it doesn't make any sense, because you're going to have to leave out one of them every week from the squad almost. So there's got to be some players moving out on loan. Will we send like Kipaki out on loan or Davis out on loan? Because you've also got Isaac Davis coming back. And when I said Davis on loan, then I was referring to the youngster fullback. But you've got Atete coming back. You've got Isaac Davis coming back. I'd be very disappointed if they send Isaac Davis back out on loan, because that would effectively mean he's leaving. Like, I want to see what Isaac can do playing in this system under a new manager between now and the end of the season, and see what it is. Lewis says he'd love to get Poco from Peterborough. Mate, I did a scout report on him. Was it last pre-season or this pre-season? ages ago anyway, but I did a scout report on him and said we should get him and Ricky J. Jones from Peterborough. But, what do I know? Pogo is excellent, mate. He could be our Doak. Like, he's real good. Jonathan says, Kanga, Collins, Mate, Atete, and Howarth. The problem is getting them out in January. So the first two, yeah, I think they're gone. Howarth, I could see going on like a loan or something. Is Howarth out of contract? I think he is, but like he's clearly not going to play unless there's an injury. So it's like, what do you do? Like, Jonathan with a big call. Could we drop Ramsey from the 25 now that there's another? We know there's another reoccurrence coming. Could be a big player for us, so mate. If we're still involved in that relegation battle at the end of the season, which I'm hoping that we're not, like, he could be vital to us come the end of the season. So, no, Howarth isn't out of contract yet. No, so I wouldn't be surprised if Howarth like went on loan just to play, but it's a big risk, isn't it? Because like, what's the bet in? It would be the most Cardiff thing ever. Like, you let Howarth go out on loan, and then the very next day, Alnwick like breaks a wrist or something, and you've got to play a kid in goals. So I can't. Yeah, I don't see it. But we shall see. We shall see. Like I said, member show tomorrow night with the boys is a bit more of a unscripted, uncensored. But the rumour mill on Tuesday morning. We'll talk about transfers a bit more. One, two, three. So let's go back to the game. Well, let's go. I want to talk about a little bit about Sheffield United. What would your 11 be for Sheffield United? Like, would you use it to get Joe Rawls fit, Perry NG fit? Would you use it to give Will Fish a game? Would you give it, a K Pacquiao a game, Mate, Bagan, Willock? Do you give it those guys a game? Or, Ruben hasn't played a lot of football. He's only played that one game in the last 3. So do you kind of mix those players off the bench in with youngsters? Or do you mix those players off the bench with the players who've played in the last few games? So, it's kind of one of them. And we'll see. We'll see what happens, Zach. Me personally, like I said, I'd be going. I haven't done my preview yet, but that's what I'll probably change. But I'd go Howarth, K Pacquiao right, NG and Fish centre backs, left back Bagan with Giles or Davis on the bench. Midfield, I'd go Rawls. And one other, I don't know who yet. I'll come back to you on that. Actually, do you know what I would do? I would play Joe Rawls as I would play the kind of the way Craig Bellamy does at home. I'd play Joe Rawls as a 6, and then I'd play Willock and Ruben as dual 8s. Fuck it, just go for it. And then up front, I'm going Ashford, Simic if he's fit, and I don't know, Ola, fuck it, and then Manny Batten on the bench. Why not go all out attack? Well, it doesn't matter. Like, just give the youngsters a game. I probably wouldn't go with that team, by the way, but like, my point being, play like a mix of the players off the bench and the youngsters. I'll be really disappointed if we don't have at least a few of the youngsters in the squad. Like, and I don't mean like, K Pacquiao, who's been in the squad anyway. I want to see the likes of Manny Batten on the bench, or Ola, or Dylan Lawler. I want to see them in the squad. Give them a chance and see, look at what Doak did yesterday before he was moved over to the left. He's 19. Only just 19 as well. Age isn't just a number. Like, it doesn't matter. If they're ready, technically and mentally, they're just going to play and they're going to do well. And when they played Southampton in the EFL Cup, they played really well. So look at the team we played then. And for me, like, this is your opportunity to really see which ones might be able to step up. Because the fact is, you'd never know. And we've talked about this before, right? A good example of this is Cameron Jerome. Cameron Jerome was not ready for first-team football based on his performances elsewhere and reserve team and stuff like that. He wasn't ready for first-team men's football. But when he came into men's football, he took to it like a duck to water, banging in the goals. And sometimes players are just more suited, whether it's a bit more time or space or whatever it may be. Sometimes it won't work and they're not ready and they need a bit more time or they need a loan. But you never know until you give them a try. So the lineup we used against Southampton from the start was Fagan Walcott, Gutas, Pacquiao. Obviously, Fagan Walcott's gone now. So could you see Dylan Lawler in there? Maybe. I mean, if you play Dylan Lawler and Fish, that's a really young centre-back pairing, but, should have a bit of pace about him. Pacquiao and Bagan, I could very much see those two being the fullbacks for the Sound for that game. And then we had Gabadian and Rina Mota. I don't want to see Rina Mota in there because I need him to bloody have a rest. And then we had Raheem Conte, who's out on loan, Ruben Colwell, Ashford, and Reindorf. Well, I wouldn't be disappointed at all to see, something similar. And then the bench, you had Twos, very much like to see him in the side. Alex Robertson came off. Jeffries came on quite late on. But you also had Tom Davis. You had Louis Giles, Mafiko. You had obviously Turner, the sub-keeper, Wigley. So I want to see these types of players playing in the squad. Like, I got to be honest, I'll be really disappointed the form he's in, particularly if Reindorf is not fit. Be very disappointed if Manny Barton's not in the squad, even if he's just on the bench for the experience and doesn't get on the pitch. Like, give him an opportunity. Perrett is another one, Martin. Like, give these players an opportunity because, for one reason or another, they might be playing for us next year in the first team. So they need experience because we've got 13 players out of contract. And I don't think I'm out of pocket by saying large chunk of that 13 are very much not guaranteed a contract. So if we're going to lose 13 players, there's a good chance that some of these youngsters are going to be playing in the first team next year. This might be the last chance to give them a first team game without like bags of pressure on it. Because, and the other side of it is, if we get like some injuries or suspensions and we are still down in the relegation battle, you might need some of these young players to play and in high pressure games. So let's give them a chance. Give them some minutes. Let's have a look at what you guys are saying though. Rhys says, play Ruben as he isn't a guaranteed starter. Yeah, it's a good shout. He also says, bring some of the under 18s into cover to allow some to play for the first team on Thursday, because they've got a game Tuesday, haven't they? I mean, like, Dylan Lawler is 18 and he's quite often the captain of the 23s. So, he's obviously got something about him. Paul says he would go with Howverth, Pacquiao, Bagan, Fish, Darland. Yeah, I'm not against Fish and Darland playing because I actually think alongside Dylan Lawler, they're the future of our centre-backs, whether it's as a 3 or a 2. He's gone Pacquiao, Bagan, Fish, Darland, NG, Tanner, Siopis, Chambers, Ashford, Mate. Yeah, I kind of agree with some of it, but not all of it. Like, I wouldn't be playing Siopis or Chambers, to be honest with you, mate. Just, they need a break, So it'd be nice, just to see some, give them a bit of a break. Jonathan says, I've seen Twos already. I want to see Manny Barton. Looks quick and a very good player. Yeah, and I'd like to see him in the squad, even if he doesn't get on, just for the experience. He's scoring goals as well, which is always a good thing. Jamie says probably around 300 or so of us going up Thursday. Would love to see some of the younger lads get a game. Yeah, mate, full respect to you. Up and down the country you go with the family. And I know you go to a lot of the 21s and the 18s. And he follows up with saying, Manny Barton for me, get him in on Thursday. The kid's a talent. And that's the thing, mate. He's banging form as well. Like, get him in the squad. I just see no point in flogging the 11 who've been playing these last few games. Like, some of them I wouldn't even take up to Sheffield. Because, Rena Mota, Chambers, Gutas, Siopis, and O'Dowda, and Alnwick probably, but Alnwick will probably go unless they take Turner. But like those 5, I just wouldn't take, just give them a break to switch off and be ready for Saturday. And, Manny Barton, Ola, Dylan Lawler, these are all players who have got a great chance. Perrett, great chance of being in the squad, and what an experience for them. Even if they don't play, what an experience for them to travel with the first team. FA Cup, one of the oldest tournaments in the world. Nice long trip as well. Like this, you never know when you might need these players. Like I said, load of suspensions and injuries come the end of the season. You might need these players in high pressure situations to get them some experience. 20. Andrew says under 21's got a game Tuesday. Don't think we'll be using many of them on Thursday. First team's got to take priority, though, mate. So if they want X, Y, and Z from the 21s or the 18s, they'll have to do some moving around. Be interesting to see if Simic is fit. So he's been training for a week or so, 2, I think, a week, definitely a week, and maybe 2. I'm not sure. Check that. I'll have to check when he started training. But even so, be interesting to see if he makes the bench, even if he doesn't make the 11, because I've seen some people writing him off already. Like, it's just madness. I've seen some stories that he wasn't happy about going out on loan to Belgium and maybe didn't give the best of account of himself. But that's all just rumours and second and third hand information. What you've got to look at is he hasn't kicked a football for us. He was playing Champions League football last year and doing all right. So let's give him a chance, get behind him and see what he can do. He could be incredible. Could be all right. Yeah, they've said Simic is staying for the season. So, and I know he's training. So, I mean, it's just when they are ready to select him. But, I mean, judging how long it took him to get Reindorf in there, he might not play till next season. There is a reluctance to play the youngsters at Cardiff City. Has been for a long time. I do not know why. Other teams seem to really do it and take the opportunity and have a look at them. But we just seem reluctant to do it. But I don't know why. Jonathan says the ones that have played a lot of games recently need a rest, but the ones coming back from injury, etc., they need minutes. Yeah, and ultimately you've got to get some of them up to speed. Like I thought Perry looked poor against Coventry, but he hasn't played and he's been injured, so he's rusty and he's unfit. So he's got to play. I'm hoping that he'll play centre back, either as a 3 or a 2, and that allows Kipaki to play. Martin says NG, Fish, and Rawls should all start. Honestly, mate, if Will Fish doesn't start, I'm gonna start asking questions, serious questions. I would also I say, Jamie, you take a load of photos with the players. If you've got a photo of Will Fish, I want to see it because I'm not convinced he's real. Let's have a look. Damien says, love to stay, lads. Phone's dying. I'm walking a dog. Enjoy, gents, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, mate. Every single day. Cardiff City phone in tomorrow, and they won't be too negative, I don't think, because we had a good performance. I know Steve was happy with it. There we go. See, Jamie has got a photo, and he said he will fish it out. No pun intended. So there we go. Will Fish is real. But just sort of going back on yesterday to kind of wrap it up in a nice little bow. Cardiff got some big games coming up. And I think the most important thing has got to be the league. I do think if we can string, 4 or 5 wins together somehow and put some wins together, we'll shoot up the table and I think we can be quite comfortable. But taking the FA Cup game out of it, the next 2 league games are Watford at home and Swansea at home. Got to find a way to win those 2 games, because you imagine the confidence coming out of those 2 games. If you can pick up 6 points, it's just absolutely massive. I would love to see us really kick on, and I think like that Swansea game can be the one that just galvanizes the whole season. I still stand by the fact, by the way, there's so many points to play for. Cardiff could end up like a comfortable sort of 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever, and not even be worried about the relegation zone. Unfortunately, where our form's picked up in the last 3 games, the teams around us have picked up the odd win as well. So like Luton have lost 3 on the bounce, mind. Portsmouth lost 2 out of the last 3. Hull won 1 and drew 1, and Plymouth picked up a couple of draws. So it's very, very tight down there. Like we're 1 but bottom on 23, Plymouth on 20, Hull 23, Portsmouth 23. There's 3 teams on 23, but then you've got Luton on 25, and then also Stoke and Derby on 27. Oxford have pulled away a little bit, but I do expect them to kind of be dragged back in eventually. Although, you know, they've made a good managerial appointment, so you never know, I guess. But I look at, you know, Preston, I thought were so poor when we played them. Same as QPR. I was not impressed with Coventry either. So I look at them, and even though they've got a bit of a cushion, if, you know, the likes of us and Hull and Luton, Stoke, Derby, whoever, start winning, those teams could get dragged in as well, because I'm not impressed with them at all. So, you know, that Swansea game, apart from being massive because it's the South Wales derby, is massive. We have to turn up for it. Historically, we don't. But I look at what we've done in the last 3 games. There can't be any excuses. Like, if they win because they were the better team on the day, not because mentally the players look like they're checked out and they haven't fought for every ball and every throw-in. So, you know, the last 3 games, that hasn't been the case. And it looks like they're much more on the same page. They're fighting for it. We've got to turn them lot over. Got to. They're not exactly tearing the world apart. So, you know, they're very beatable, especially at home. Very beatable team. They've lost a couple recently, and, you know, they've dropped some points. So it's a very winnable game. I don't think they're very good. You know, I've obviously got no bias whatsoever. You know, there was rumors not so long ago they were going to sack the manager. So, you know, they got a last-minute equaliser against West Brom the other day. Very beatable team. But Cardiff got to turn up for that. But first and foremost, yes, you got the FA Cup game. Got to make sure that we get something from that Watford game. I thought Watford at the back, geez, if they play like that against us at home, I really think we could turn Watford over and win quite comfortably if we're at it, because they gave the ball away so much playing out from the back. And they did not like it when we were putting it in the channel and we were playing a bit more direct, and they had to deal with it as we were then trying to play in the final third. So, yeah, I'm quite up for that Watford game. I think that is a game that we can definitely win. It's something that we've got to... It's home game. Home games, we've got to be more aggressive at home. With the pressing, with the way we're playing, put teams under pressure early on, smash into them, you know. Hopefully, by that Watford game, we should have a couple in as well. And we might have a bit of pace to use on the transition. Because the one thing one of the things that has stood out for me in the last 3 games, is even against Boro, like in the transition, we've got a teams and we created chances, like clear-cut chances. So if we can add some genuine pace in the transfer window, that can be a big, big tool for us, especially the way we're playing now, where we're being a little bit more direct and then trying to play higher up the field. Get some pace in there. Like, oof. You can get some pace running in behind when you've got players like Ruben Colwell and Alex Robertson, Robinson, people like that who are clever and find these little pockets of space, or they arrive late. If you've got pace running in behind, it just opens up a whole new avenue for the team. And obviously, it's up to the club to get those over the line and get them sorted. Martin says Rabbi Matonda's got bags of pace, but he's not the best technically. Yeah, there's a few of them. Like I saw, like that was one of the things the United fans criticised Dan James for, was that he was, he had such amazing pace, but just technically didn't have it. But like at this level in the Championship, I think like Daniel James, for instance, has been quite successful. I'd be interested in seeing. I don't think he's the right player for what we need now. We need players who are going to, you look at like Keane Ashford and his work rate to help the fullback, and you look at Tanner and his work rate to help O'Dowda. You need that mentality, and I'm not sure if Rabbi Matondo's got that. I think he's a good player, and I think he's a player who hasn't hit his, anywhere near his peak yet. But I'm not sure for the situation that we're in now that he's the right type of signing. But you ask me again in 12 months, and I bet you like he could be really good in the team that we might have in about 18 months' time, if that makes sense. But just now, where we certainly in the short term are in a relegation battle, hopefully we won't be come the end of the season and we'll have pulled away. But I'm not sure that we will or we won't. It's interesting. Right. If you've got any questions that you want to ask, get them in. Again, big thank you to all the members who've joined over the last sort of few days, last week or so, both on Patreon and on the Cardiff City YouTube channel. That's what keeps the channel going, allows us to do 7 days a week, etc. We will have the Cardiff City phone-in is obviously on the channel tomorrow for everyone. We'll then have a members show at about 9 o'clock, I think it is, with the boys. Tuesday morning, we'll have the Rumour Mill podcast, the first one for members, where I'll be discussing some stuff. And then obviously we'll be back every day. We'll have every day we'll have some content. Don't know what we're going to have this week. I might do a video Tuesday night about Omar Rhys's initial period in charge. Not sure yet. What could Tuesday's video be about? Interesting, because there's lots of rumors going around at the moment. But what I will say, by the way, is let me just find my page a minute. So we'll have a preview, obviously, for the Sheffield United game. Hoping to have an interview with someone as well this week. I don't know if that's going to happen. I got to just double check that. But yeah, we got some stuff coming. There'll be something every day of the week. Transfer window obviously gives us extra stuff, but I would like to see us as a club try and move a couple out. Like we mentioned, obviously Jamal Collins. We mentioned Tsunoda's gone out and Kanga's going back. Well, maybe we can move a couple more out, even if it's on loan in the time being, and then get a couple in. But the big thing for me is getting some pace in there, because pace is something that this team lacks massively. But they've got to be the right personalities, got to be people who are going to work hard for the team, because that's been a massive part of the improvement over the last few games, is the work rate and the attitude and the application in the individual roles and working for your teammates, whether that's like Ashford or Tanner working back for the fullbacks, or is Chambers being disciplined in his position to allow what's his face? Psyopis, sorry, I was reading something and I'm trying to speak. Psyopis, like you've got to do that for your teammates. You've got to do your role and you've got to take responsibility. And I have seen that in the last few games. So that is important, but that's also important when you're getting players in, getting the right type of personalities as well as the ability and skill sets. Jonathan says, was Tsunoda in the 25, hasn't even been on the bench. Yeah, I think I think he travelled a couple of times, but I don't think he was ever. I think he might have been on the bench once by memory, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Don't think so. But yeah, he's gone to Belgium, mate. Don't think I'm breaking any confidences by saying that. Pretty sure it was public knowledge over the weekend. Let's see. Yeah, some big games coming up. Big games. I really can't believe that, by the way, that Callum Robinson's red card didn't get overturned. Like, that's just never a red card. No, like the refereeing standard and on the whole has been so bad. I thought the ref against Watford was decent. And then you have that ridiculous sending off against Coventry, which just ruins the game. And then yesterday, I thought the ref was pretty poor as well. So, yeah, is what it is. Cardiff City phone-in tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Member show, 9 o'clock. Tuesday morning, the rumour mill will be out for members. And Tuesday night, we'll have some sort of video content. I'm not sure what. If you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see me do a video on for Tuesday night, drop them in the comments. I'm open to ideas. Thinking maybe 5 potential signings for Cardiff in the summer, who we could be looking at, or who would fit what we need. Maybe looking back at Rhys's reign so far. Not sure. I've also got a video looking at the finances and the hierarchy of the club, but that's a bit more of a long form one. It's taken time. So it's like, because I want to get the research right and everything right around that. It's going to be about the owner and everything in between, really. But that will be out. It'll be out before the Swansea game, I'd imagine. The Flower Hour will be back on Wednesday evening. We'll also have a preview. Yeah, it comes thick and fast. Cardiff City World, 7 days a week. Make sure you're subscribed. Click the bell for notifications. All that good stuff. If you want to listen to it, it's available on all your podcast platforms and everything. Appreciate your support as always. Keep the faith. The Blues are staying up.